Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Thursday. Is it? Wait. It's Thursday, right? It's Thursday. Thursday, March 2nd. And we've got markedly higher rates here this morning. I mean, rates were going up yesterday, but this morning they're definitely up. We're at 4.05, so we are now a whole 10 basis points, I guess, higher than we were yesterday. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Let's come over to the charts here. Here's the Treasury, so you can see yesterday, like we moved pretty good, right? And we got a good chunk of that move too. Oh, yesterday's trading was great. Okay, lower now here this morning. That kind of does make it a little bit harder for us sometimes when it's already down, but this could run. Big piece of news overnight. Nomura saying that they think that the March rate hike will be 50 basis points. So that could that's definitely going to play in here. We could see other banks come in and become more hawkish. So this could just be the start of this, right? S&P 500 as a result a little bit lower. I would say that it's gently lower, but it is lower. Okay, and we are well below 4,000 now as well. Oil actually seeing a little bit of a rise here though. Gold and silver slightly lower overnight. Copper getting hammered. Wow, what happened in copper? Something definitely happened in copper. Now come over here to the dollar. The dollar is moving higher again. So what I'm seeing across the board is tighter financial conditions, people expecting the Federal Reserve to become more hawkish, basically on the thing that the January data was just no good. So that's where we at. Man, do I have to? Well, okay, I don't like that at all. Here we're getting the news now. U.S. initial jobless claims 190 versus 195, slightly lower than expected. U.S. labor costs revised 3.2% versus an expected 1.6%. That is awful. Oh, mama. Oh, mama. Well, I didn't realize I was that far behind. That sucks. Because I could have hit that 05. Okay, so I'm being told, oh yeah, okay, productivity revised 1.7 versus 2.5. Bloomberg.com has an article, what now for a Fed that has fallen behind the curve again? Nick Timmeros, the CPI is usually run a bit higher than the PCE, and inflation measured by the CPI far outpaced the PCE in 2022. That is likely to flip this year with the decline in CPI outpacing the PCE. Interesting. Okay. Price moderating a little bit. Man, are we already gonna be to like 4.1 by the end of the day? That's gonna be they are pushing that hard too. This is getting ugly, folks. Okay, big pullback. All right, so let's watch this go through here for a little bit. I feel a little discombobulated. Did I just blow my? What do you mean by that? I didn't. Nothing. I didn't do anything. I'm mad that I wasn't. I didn't realize what time I was starting this. Like I thought that I was like 5 minutes early. I didn't realize that we were starting like right at 6:30, and that I could have been hitting into 05. This. So I'm a little bit like, okay. Now what do we do? Well, I could wait there with that order. I will keep that out there. But I had like yesterday I was like brainstorming all these things that I was gonna do, but then I'm in the moment and I'm like, oh wait, I'm just like going right back into like my usual like routine way of thinking, and I feel like we need to do something to start this day out right. And that was not it. And time to just put my hands up in the air and just breathe a little bit. I'm really hesitant to just market order into this late. What we have not seen real washback on this move yet. It's just going. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity, but I hate when I think it's Friday and I realize it's only Thursday. Well, let's start out with a reading from that great tome, The Ferengi Rules of Acquisition, shall we? Opening to a random page. Home is where the heart is, but the stars are made of latnium. There you go. Great wisdom. Great wisdom in that book. So that one actually was really good. I like that. That was really like, felt very aspirational, don't you think? Guys, I feel like that I wouldn't, what we do here is really important. That's what I feel. I feel like what we do here is really important. That's not to say that I would go out to any random individual person out on the street and be like, you should day trade, okay? Like, it's effing hard. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody should do it. And your time is, there's probably many other things that you could do that would be more rewarding to you. But somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. And I think we've gotten pretty damn good at it. I think all of us together here, we've gotten pretty damn good at it. And it's important in our society to have some people that understand how these things work and understand what things should be worth and where things are going, etc., etc., etc. And I just really want to make sure that we properly emphasize that, so that the people out there that this is for them, that we find them and we get them good at it, instead of them losing their way in all this muck of stupid BS that is completely useless, right? It's just noise everywhere, right? And we want to make sure that they find the information that helps them understand how the market really works, This is so aggressive, man. Wow. Like, so I'm sitting here waiting for there to be like a really big gasp of air back up, right? And I just keep seeing market orders sweep everything that's getting put up down at those lows. Like these sellers are being really aggressive. I really don't like chasing like that. I really just don't like chasing like that. But right now, to get involved, that's like your only choice. You say that part of that 3,000 at 12.5 is a large MBO. Thank you. I mean, they do appear to be slowing down here at 14, and a lot has traded there now, almost 20,000 contracts. So that helps. Maybe we will see it kind of slow down here, if not suck back up a little bit. I don't know. What did it do? It went to 14.5 and then back up to 17.5. So it went from here to here. That was the biggest that it came back. Okay, so good question, Pep. Thank you for your question. I am watching your video on Good Computer, and I wanted to ask what you think of an AMD Ryzen 5600X with 6 cores. Yeah, so that would be absolutely sufficient for sure. And right now, that is a really good value proposition because there is a new generation of hardware out. So they've got Ryzen 7000 series. And those come with new motherboards. Those new motherboards are a little pricey right now. But I would like to upgrade and build a new machine. And the thing that's holding me back is finding a motherboard that has all of the outputs that I want without having to pay, like, you know, as much for the motherboard as most people put in their PC. It's ridiculous, right? But if you go down to the last generation, like these 5600Xs, like, oh man, you're getting so much bang for your buck with those, man, because they're only like 100 150 now, right? And they're great. I mean, like that processor is like 4 times faster than the processor that I've got in this machine right now. Okay, so it absolutely will be sufficient for day trading. I'll tell you that much, right? Yeah, the only thing that I really changed is one thing is that it does seem to, I would really highly recommend that you get a video card that has the newer generations of architecture on them. So you could still get like the cheaper ones, but like if you get the cheaper ones, get like a 1650. Right? Don't get like a 1050, get a 1650, because you get the encoder and you get the better hardware stuff. And I believe that a 1650 will let you use hardware accelerated processor scheduling. Yeah, because that seems to have made a difference for me for some reason. Everybody says that like it doesn't make a difference, but my computer has been running a little bit, quite a bit better. Not a little bit, quite a bit better since I upgraded my video card. So from a 1060 to a 3060. And then all the other stuff. Like the thing is we're kind of getting into a weird spot where we have hardware now that like it seems like nobody knows what to do with it. Okay, so like for instance, they now have a new version of PCI Express. So there's PCI Express 5. So all of the video cards that have been put out onto the market so far are all essentially PCI Express 4, right? Now you have 5. It's like they don't even know what to do with that amount of bandwidth. Like they're not, you know, they already had things to the point where you're doing like 4K 120 hertz displays and the cards could handle it. So what are you doing with the PCI Express 5, right? Same with the memory. It's like, so now they have DDR5. Is it DDR5? I think it's 5. And you put the DDR5 in and you do the benchmarking and everything, and it is a performance increase over the last generation, but like not really significantly. So it's really like the software just doesn't take advantage of the improvements in the hardware that we've had since the pandemic, essentially. Because what happened was all of the software development like ground to a halt. Like there's hardly been any new games at all, right? Everybody's just been sitting on the games that they had and continued to develop the games that they had, and there hasn't been new games that are like really pushing the envelope on the graphics, really use the new hardware, anything like that. And so then when you go back to like consumer apps, it's really like, geez, okay, unless you're doing like really hardcore video editing in 4K, doesn't make a difference. I wonder if on the encoding that maybe my processor matters, because I can't encode to 4K despite having my 3060. I know Lucas was saying he was going to test, but he didn't say anything about it. Anyways. 3940 ES, you tell me what comes next. Watch the VIX. It has the clue. Oh, the clue. So I was thinking, you know what? YouTube has like expanded their reaction thing. So like if you're looking on YouTube right now and there's like just below where you can say something, it says add reaction. And there are the emojis that you can use if you are a member. So if you subscribe to the channel for $1 a month, then you can use my emojis, and you can use the bowl emoji, the gay bear emoji, Seth surprise, and the dollar printer. I really wish that I could give you guys that without you having to subscribe for $1, but that's the way it is. But there's like all of these ones specific to YouTube and stuff too. The ones specific to YouTube are not that cool. But for instance, let's see here. I think you can do chart. Yeah. So if you just type :chart, then you get all of these charts, and you can do chart increasing, chart decreasing. And I feel like we could use that. You know what I mean? We could come in and we could say, all right, I think this is going this way, right? I could say ZN chart decreasing. Yeah, like that. Oh wait, it didn't do the ZN. That's fun. That's weird. Huh. Interesting. I guess it doesn't let you do text with it. Oh, you know why? Because I put it up here. There we go. Ah, there we go. No, I don't want up. I want down. I will remove that message. That was fake news. That was fake news. Can I show you in Journalytics? Yeah, we could look at that right now if you want. Because we are in a little bit of a drawdown still, right? Okay, Taiwan, Britain, what are the most important numbers to start reading the DOM for beginners? So many numbers. Okay, so you really want to focus on those inside numbers, all right? So like when I'm looking at all this stuff up here, okay, I am going to take note of, okay, there seems to be a little bit more liquidity at 18. which kind of suggests if we're getting a pullback and all of that stuff, it might be difficult for them to get over 18, right? There's likely to be a little bit more liquidity, but we'll see, because that liquidity could pull, okay? But you're gonna see it as it happens. So like the most important stuff is those two inside prices. So I recenter it, and that's what I'm watching is right here. These inside prices on all of the instruments, okay? And I will watch these other ones that are a little bit further out, but you know, that's just kind of I don't know, you just kind of pick up on that on your own. I don't think you have to consciously think about it. Just put your eyes right here, right? And what am I watching specifically about that? Well, one, I'm watching what is the balance between these two, right? So like right now, 9.5. So it seems like if you go below 500 contracts, that's the price it's likely to go, right? So they pulled right here. They pulled, because it only took 500 contracts to trade down, as opposed to like 1,000 contracts, 2,000 contracts, like it was at some point, right? So that says to me, we are in a bit of a liquidity hole right now. Like it was able to pull back as far as it did because of the market makers getting scared, running scared, essentially, right? And we are still in the hole, and so it's just as easy for it to fall all the way back to 14, right? So that's kind of what I watch. So now there's 2,000. See, there's 2,000 there, and it's not changing. Even though contracts have gone into it, it's not changing. Then they ticked up. Yeah. The stacking and pulling column is useful too. I feel like I kind of see it on my own. Because which you, yeah. I mean, something that I would find really unusual is like if it ticks up or down and you see a lot of liquidity 2 and 3 prices away, stack or pull. That's a little unusual, because usually it's just the inside 2 prices that are reacting. Stacking and pulling bounces a lot though. Well, yeah. So what you kind of got to do is you want to watch each step, right? So right now they're equal, right? It's 800 by 800. Somebody traded it. There's an iceberg. There's an iceberg at 16. That's interesting. But you know what? At 16, there's always weird stuff at 16. Yeah. Yeah, the stacking and pulling column has a lot of noise in it, I would say. Like, it's rare that you see something like a really aggressive pull or stack, you know? I much prefer to use my market depth tape to show me like a significant stack somewhere. I think that's a little bit more useful. And could maybe alert you to similar things to what the stacking and pulling column can. It's just all about screen real estate. Like I have these DOMs really, these are much bigger than like what the default is, right? So if I had these all the same as the default, I could probably fit like 3 or 4 more DOMs on here, right? So. Well, so 17 wouldn't have been too bad. Why don't you refresh the market orders? So I really only care to refresh that when I am interested in like we had, well, now might be a good time to do it. It's actually maybe a little bit late, but like if we had a big move down, what I can do is I can, oh man, how do I describe this? Okay, I have to describe something about order flow to you for a second, okay? The market imbalances tend to be persistent and have a long memory, and prices tend to have a long memory. So if somebody comes in and sells a ton of treasuries, and let's just say that it wasn't because of the news, let's just say that they sold a ton of treasuries to bring us down here because of end of month rebalancing or something like that, right? Traditional models of the market would say that that's a deviation from a fundamental value and they're going to go back to fundamental value, right? But what we find is that that doesn't happen. That it just, they move down and then they rebalance where they ended up, which is what we refer to as the long memory, right? So this is like my new anchor point is 14, right? So I might be interested in seeing, okay, how far back can they go? Because that will tell me a lot about what the liquidity is doing on the offers, right? So far, they didn't get too far back, and I would say that the absorption against it was pretty healthy. So we're still in a market that I think could very easily breach new lows. Oh man, in fact, it's already down there, isn't it? They came down. Oh, in fact, the 10-year did. No, 10-year is just ticking in the low. We could breach. Let's see if there's some stops on it. So that's the only reason that I refresh it. I like to have the reminder to tell me, oh yeah, okay, there was a spot where there was big ones and that sort of a thing. But since the inside resets, if it's been away from it, it comes back anyways, you know, I don't necessarily need to, right? In other words, the only advantage of clearing the current trades is to give you a more clear visual indication of where the last swing high was, right? So it only makes sense to me to reset it when we've had a meta order and there appears to be a new anchor. Okay, so anyways, you had asked about stats, right? So the thing is kind of like, which ones do you want to see, right? But let's just look at this year so far. And we need to get rid of, oh, did I have a big loser on the sim account? I guess I did. I guess I had 2 big losers that day. We made them back. So this is all trades. This is everything. But that's not, we need to limit it to just the micros to see the live trades. Oh, okay, it's not too bad actually. It's interesting. So like I said, so this day was really bad and then we made it back and I'm like, oh, we're okay. This one really pissed me off, right? I made big mistakes on that at the beginning of February. But we are climbing out of the hole. We are climbing out of the hole. So, good morning, Jacob. How are you? What's our hit rate? Our hit rate is 48%. That's not bad. We're doing pretty good. That's actually better than what we've been doing. I would like that MAE to be a little bit less, right? So what's really happened, what our stats are really suggesting right now was that we had a couple of losers. There was one that was $60 almost that really should not have happened. That was a really bad decision, right? But overall we're doing pretty good. In all seriousness though, like even if it's just, oops, wrong direction. Even if it's just sideways, that's still great. Really speaking for retail trading, right? So that's one where it's like, look, if I come in and I start using multiple contracts and take on a little bit more risk, then that would be some stats kind of like what you often see from a lot of other people that look really impressive. Can you see all time? Do you want to see like all time all trades ever, or do you want to see like all time on, well, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this, but first of all, I think that I go back all the way back to 2017. So let's start with that. Okay. So this is just on 10 years, 10-year micros. It's interesting. How many trades have I taken on the micros? It's funny. It is a net gain, but it's only a small amount. I think early on I made a lot of mistakes. 130, that can't be right. I've made more than 136 trades in a year. Yeah, I think so. Am I doing something wrong here? Oh, yeah, it might be because I need to do that. Yeah, let's try that. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so see, here's where I'm saying that, like, last May, I kind of, like, I didn't have things under control. I made some mistakes. Oh, and not only that, but this little dip right here was me, like, YOLOing it. Like, I had decided I'm gonna switch brokers anyways, so we might as well do something degenerate with the money that we have left in this account, because I don't need it to start the new account. So this was kind of me running down this other account, and ended up being a $100 loss, which really sucked. Okay, but now I should be able to come into the stats and see 418. That's more like it. But when you do it on that one, the hit rate's not very good. From that level, 36%. Yeah, there was some of those periods that were really bad, right? That's where I always say also that, like, there was an adjustment period. And I feel like that was kind of this adjustment period. And then starting from that summer on was when we really started doing a lot better at it. This could have been bad. I mean, like, two or three different decisions over here, and this would have looked really good. But okay, anyways, if we go back and we just select and we do everything ever, the stats that you see from that are going to be a little bit screwed up. So first of all, there was one day where we were like, let's just put on as many contracts as we possibly can. Oh no, those aren't right either though. Oh, you know why? Because it's those S&P 500 trades. So like if you show ES, yeah, then you can kind of see how it's like, well, we had some periods where we did okay, but overall we just lost money on trading ES, right? If I switch it to ZN, we should get a different picture, right? There you go. When you go back and you show it on ZN, now it's kind of a different thing. Now you can kind of see. So this right here, there was some stuff before that you can't see. But this was this period where I first started when we first started this stream, where it was like for the whole summer, it was just like I lost every day. That was so tough. And I wasn't able to really work anything out until that next year. But even then, that was kind of like off. Okay, so now you get to 2021, right? So this period right here, starting in 2021, I started taking a different approach with my 10-year trades. And I started doing more of a swing trade sort of a strategy with it. And you can see that the performance on that has been pretty good. I would actually say if you look at this period right here, even though it's up and it looks really great, it's not as good as it looks. Like, I would have done so much better if I had just on this first day just taken the treasury short and just held it. Okay, so I think I underperformed the index, but it's still a great progress, right? And when you come and you look at this one, our win rate is a lot better, 41%. I would really prefer my win rate to be above 45%. That's because, especially if I'm taking relatively equal risk reward, and I want it to, I'm trying to win on the win rate, right? So yeah, but the other thing that I would want you to come out of from going over that, or kind of any time that we come in and we look at our stats, is that as a trader, you end up doing so much different stuff over the years that like there's all of these different ways to look at your stats where they're going to look different depending on which instruments you limit them to, which time frames you limit them to, etc., right? So for instance, I took some experimental trades in the micro 30 on spreads that I took a big loss on, that kind of hurt the other account that you weren't seeing there, for instance. So when you're watching creators and you're going from the whole thing of like, well, should I watch this guy? Are they actually good? Sort of a thing. Just realize that people can manipulate their stats to make it look good, right? So that's really not a very good indicator of whether or not the stuff that they are saying is actually useful to you, right? That's why it's much better to look for empirical evidence of what they're talking about. You know, if they say the market has a tendency to do this, the market has a tendency to mean revert in this situation. Okay, prove it. Show me every time that situation has ever happened in the history of ever, and what the results of that trading that strategy are, right? And I guarantee you, 99% of the time, they won't be able to do that. They won't be able to do that. That's the way it is. All right. Well, we're back up to 16. So that's interesting. I'm actually so when we were touching 13, I kind of thought, oh, they might back up a little bit and then they'll go lower. But this is backed up quite a bit further. This is now kind of starting to say, maybe we're done for the day and we're going to revert back up. If they do that though, then I might try taking it. Like, so here's the thing. Going back. So again, we're trying to predict orders, right? So what is a piece of information that we have today that could really significantly help us predict orders? Because we have one. So yeah, overnight or yesterday, Nomura. Remember, Nomura is stationed in Japan. They're the big quant in Japan. Okay, so that's why it happened overnight, right? But they put out a note saying, predicting rather, that the March rate hike will be a 50 basis point hike instead of a 25 basis point hike. Okay, so why is this important? Well, Nomura has kind of been the outlier this whole time. Going back to the very, very beginning, they've always been the first ones to say inflation is starting to get out of control. The Federal Reserve is going to have to hike harder than expected, etc., etc. And so what has always happened is Nomura will be the first ones to come out and say it, and then all of the other analysts end up following them, right? So they've kind of been the leader on this research. So when Nomura says that there might do a 50 basis point increase, because that's not priced in by the market at all. They're still at like, there's a 20% chance of that, right? So them coming out, and that's significant. And what we've seen in the past is that like 2 days later, other analysts come out and say the same thing, and then you start to get really strong flows when that happens. You know, like if JP Morgan comes out or Goldman Sachs comes out and says the Federal Reserve is going to do a 50 basis point hike in March, and the probabilities go from 20% chance of them doing that in March to like a 70-80% chance of them doing that in March, which is probably what the market would start to price. That would be a very significant move in the treasuries, right? So we have a good piece of information that could help us predict orders. The question is now is just the timing of it, right? So I think that you got a pretty good one if you had been able to hit into the 05s back here. I think I should cancel this order, by the way. I don't want something just sitting out there. I might forget about it. In fact, I will click cancel there and make sure that if there was any others anywhere else, which I don't think there are, but if there were, I could cancel. But yeah, so I think we kind of need to be on the lookout for opportunities to get this short. What time is it? 7 o'clock. So now is a good time for us to go down and review what we've got going on in all of the markets here, okay? How did we react to this news? Well, just looking at our market analyzer here, the biggest loser today is still copper, followed by silver and NQ, with the biggest winners being natural gas and corn. So what does that suggest to us? Well, when those commodities are going up, oil, corn, natural gas, and everything else is down, that suggests that the market is concerned about inflation. So it is the case, it seems to me, that the market is concerned about the Federal Reserve raising hikes because of, you know, in accordance with what Nomura said. And you can see here after the news, Treasuries gapped down pretty good. S&P 500 did drop on it, but like not too extreme. So that one's kind of been a wash. Kind of looking at some of these other correlations here. The dollar has been up all morning. And it did take another pretty decent leap up off of the news that we just had. And we had well, there was a move in gold, but it wasn't too significant. There was a move in oil. Overall, though, I would say that since the news, market has been relatively quiet. So we're now coming into when the equity traders come in, so we might start seeing some flows come in from that. We'll see. How do you do a song request? I don't know, unless it's on the Stream Beats playlist. What's on the Stream Beats playlist that we can do it. But the issue, remember that one day when we were doing it and we were playing rock music, and the very next day I got the content strike on it. So it's like if I deviate from the Stream Beats playlist, I get hit. It's annoying AF. Let's see here. What's the correct way to do this? There we go. That's Indian music. It's the greatest song ever written. Is it really? Is it really actually? Well, I'm into it. This is something that I find so incredibly fascinating. So like when I was a missionary, there was a period of about 2 to 3 months where we were in a Spanish speaking area. It was like just enough to get me to the point where I could kind of understand what people were saying, but I couldn't really speak. And Spanish people love mariachi music. They just absolutely love mariachi. Mexican people, they love mariachi music. I don't know what it is. They absolutely love it. Well, I do know what it is, but they just absolutely. I don't like it. I'm like, what that? Why would you listen to this stuff? I don't. This isn't entertaining at all. It's 100% like that's the song in the culture. That's what you listen to growing up, and so that's the kind of music you like. And I didn't know how popular like Indian music was over there, but I mean, there's a certain level of it's popular. And it's just interesting to me that how much the culture that you grew up with is, you know. But that's the thing is like, again, I don't think that the average person realizes how big of an influence like the culture and the tribal nature of humans affects us, you know? You have 2 nephews that were missionaries? That's cool. Look at the size of the icebergs. Yeah, there's been some pretty good. It's Punjabi, but you're not from Punjab. Where are you from then? You know what we should here. Let's do it this way. Let's do like a collaborative Google map. Okay. So I think I can come in here and I can say, okay, so it's an untitled map. We're gonna call it, yeah, we'll do it like that. Okay. And then I can add a marker where I live in Centerville, somewhere in here. I'm not going to make it exact. Save. I should do it like that. There you go. Okay, and then I can share this, right? Anyone on this? So I'll copy that link for starters. I need to, there must be, I don't know. I'll just copy the link over here. Does that let you put markers on it? If you use that link, guys, does it let you put markers on it? Or does it say you don't have permissions? And here's what I would say. Put it where you grew up. Like, put the marker where you lived when you were like a teenager, like 14 to 24. Put your marker there. And I'm interested to see, because I know there's a lot of you guys in Europe, and I know that there's a couple of you guys that did grow up in India too. There's a much larger portion of my audience than I would have expected. You lived in 6 different places in those 10 years? Well, wow. I guess I would say pick the one that you think was the most influential on the most influential culture on you. Okay, so this is coming back up pretty strongly now. It will not let you add a marker on the map. Okay, so let's see here. New maps at the end of my site. Export. How do we change permissions, man? I don't know how to search for this. How to create shared collaborative Google Maps. Your maps. Set up your map. Bunch of shit that I could have figured out on my own. Okay, wait. Where was it? Share. Share on Drive. People with access, general access, anyone with the link can edit. Okay. I don't know if that link is different, but try that one. Wow, they got all the way up to 19.5, but they sure turned back down real quick, didn't they? That's actually really curious to me. So what's going on here? When I look at the volume, so when this first happened, I thought, okay, we're probably going to sell today, and then we had bad fundamental news too. That's the sort of thing that could lead to a lot of downside action and continued downside action. So the amount that they've pulled back here and the flows on this pullback are a little bit surprising and make me very wary of trying to trade it, because I suggests to me that there's something I don't know that's going on. Did you get one mark? What do you mean by that? So are you guys able to add people? Here, let's change the name of this. Rename this layer to viewers. And hopefully that'll work. I don't know. You might be able to. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. See how it goes. Yeah. Good morning, Tarn. You know I can't say that. Tarnosaurus. I don't think that part of my brain is working this morning. Right. I think so. We're 10 minutes here before the S&P 500 open. I think it's time for us to stand up and stretch a little bit, right? Like, cause you can't be sitting for like hours and hours, guys. You got to stand up. So why don't you stand up with me? Stand up. We'll stretch this way. Yeah, I'll show you. We're gonna stand up and stretch to the left like this, and then twist like this. Roll your shoulders. Very good. And now you should feel rejuvenated and alert and ready to trade for the open of the S&P 500. Let's see here. So can I see? He says he added his mark. Can I see it? Or maybe I have to refresh. Yeah, probably I do. Let me try that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. How do I well, anyways, yeah, I got a bunch of you guys over here in Europe. More of you in Europe. That's Uzi. Oh no, wait, this says Jacob isn't. I forgot that you were in Florida. So we got Uzi isn't on here. That's interesting. Oh, we hasn't put himself on there yet though. Refresh it again. Oh, yep, there we go. There he is. Because you did grow up in India, right? but like which part? Tell me. I don't know enough about India to know like the differences between the different parts. Hey NASDAQ Tech, we're doing a little. So if you scroll up in the comments a little bit, we've got a map, and we're putting on the map where you grew up. Like where did you live when you were a teenager? So you can go put one over here in Morocco. S&P 500 today should be really interesting. Let me come back here for a second. So we are lower than we were yesterday. We're well below yesterday's lows. So there's going to be some technical traders trying to buy this back up and close the gap. Would they be happy with 39.45, or would they want to get back up to like 39.60? So there's that trade. But overall, I think that things just don't look good. There's probably going to be supply. So I think what we might see is some buying in the S&P 500 on the open and a lot of absorption against it. Like I think that these CTAs are going to still be a strong source of supply here for the open. That's what I think is going to happen. So we'll see how that plays out here. India population count really bullish. We'll see how many we got. Oh yeah. Oh, there you go. Oh, you can change your color. Mashan showing us all up. Look at that. Oh, we got a lot of them too. That's so cool. My audience is international, guys. I didn't even realize how international we are. Well, maybe not fully. I mean, if we need to get, I know that we had a few viewers, 1 or 2 viewers from like Japan and South Korea before. An international star. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm always out there walking out on the street and thinking, why isn't anybody stopping me on the street? I'm a famous YouTube star. Well, it turns out I'm an international star. People here in the United States, they're not in on it yet. They haven't caught on yet. That's what it is. Wait for the EU to turn into a federation and then it's no longer international. Yeah. Then it will be just turned into I'm a European star. Does that mean that I should just move to Europe? Maybe that's what I got to do. I could move to Ibiza. Where is I? You know what? I can't. Oh, there it is, right there. It's like, can I even find Ibiza on a map? Are people going to complain about the way that I'm saying it? Yeah, we could get a nice little place over here in like San Antonio or something. Where is it? Isn't that on this side over here? It's actually bigger than I thought it was. How big is where do you like right click on it? Nah. Oh, won't let me do it in this one. That's interesting. Anyways, I could live in Ibiza and be a star in Europe, you know. Be more closer on the time zone. You know, start when the London Star opens. That'd be funny. Oh, we do have some. I was about to say, I don't know if we really have anybody in the UK. Oh, right. Okay. So that's interesting. So are you saying, because you did tell me you were like born in India, right? So you're saying you have lived in the UK though for most of your life, huh? Also, I didn't know that we had anybody. Oh, Mr. M is in Ireland. Oh, so I got a question for you then, Mr. M. What do you think of this deal that they've got? The whole deal, because there's this whole issue over Northern Ireland and all of that stuff. Oh, nope. 18 to 24. You said between 14 and 24. Okay. I thought you were in the Netherlands, or you were in the Netherlands for a while and you moved? Was it when you first started watching you were in the Netherlands and now you've moved over here for school? Ireland has to be with the UK and the EU. See, I'm unsure. Yeah, that's what I was asking actually. Was it weren't you in the Netherlands earlier? But do you think, Mr. M, that this deal that they've got is going to go through and is going to work? Or is it like, is it kind of one of those things where everybody's like, well, the politicians are going to do what they're going to do, but it's probably, we're going to have to revisit it again later, sort of a thing. You know what I mean? I should have posted my CV. It's funny, man. I love that you can change the color of it. Oh, there we go. Now we got. Oh, Greg is in. Oh yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, that's right. You've told me that before, hasn't you? So I should keep track of this now. I was thinking the other day was like, I need to do a better job keeping track of like viewers and like what I know about my viewers and stuff. But like I'm not going to start like a spreadsheet or anything. But then I was thinking about it the other day and was like, actually, maybe starting a spreadsheet would be a useful thing. Hey, Joel, how's it going? We're putting out where you grew up on a map. This is our audience. Yeah, you know what else though this kind of makes me wonder is like, what would happen if I streamed late in the day? Like if I regularly did another short 1 to 2 hour stream where you know, the markets were closed by that point, but you know, around the time that like everybody's heading home, sort of a thing, because that tends to be like the most active time for streams. Because I guess the whole thing is I'm not getting as many Americans on the stream as we should. Because doesn't the YouTube, like, since I live in the US, it's more likely to show it to other people in the US? Could be wrong about that. You're the only one in wait, where is that? Here, let me refresh here. Oh, that's you over here, that mission. That's Anatolia. Oh yeah, in Turkey. Yeah, that's interesting. There's so many of these, you know, like once you start to get into like the Balkans area and everything, I do not know a whole lot about the geography here, you know? Like the other day, because they were talking about maybe the Ukrainians will attack what is this area called again? Sevastopol. But no, what's the Crimea? No, is that what it's called? No, what is the name of the island? What's the name of the whole thing? I forget. It's not listing it there. That's Crimea. There you go, Crimea. And I was like, oh, how big is Crimea? So like I measured it, and it's like 120 miles across. it's a big area actually. It's bigger than some other countries. Like it's maybe almost as big as like the Netherlands. I was like, whoa, these are like big areas that like we in the United States never hear about. So fascinating to me. It's about half of the Netherlands. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell from just looking at the map. Where isn't there that thing where you can like take the maps and you can like overlay them on top of each other? But I compared it to where I live here in Salt Lake City, and it was like from Provo all the way to Bear Lake, which is like huge to me. That's like, oh, that's so big. That's a way bigger spot. Like everybody in the United States talks about it like it's just a tiny little island. They can just head over there just immediately. No, it was like a big area they took. The Netherlands, yeah, the Netherlands is not too big. When I was 15 or 16, I went on a trip to Europe, and we landed in Paris. Drove up through Belgium, the Netherlands, across Germany, and then into Denmark. And then from Denmark, we took, sorry, where is it? From Copenhagen, it was? Yeah, from Copenhagen, we took an overnight ferry to Stockholm. And then we took the plane from Stockholm to Switzerland. And then home. Oh man, that thinking about that trip was so weird because the way that they did it was like the trip from Stockholm to Switzerland and from Switzerland across back to the United States was so nice. It was such a nice plane. The airport in Switzerland is so nice. It's the nicest airport I've been in, at least. Okay, but then we come over here, and I think that we landed in Atlanta, maybe. I think it was Atlanta, and then we went to Atlanta to Texas, and then back to Salt Lake City, and on a TWA, on TWA. Oh man! And when we landed in Salt Lake City, like I really thought the plane was gonna fall apart. Like the flight attendant was like scared, like how much the plane was shaking when we landed. So when TWA went under and everything, I wasn't surprised. And as a kid, I didn't know all the other history about it. You guys familiar with the whole thing about TWA and like how it got taken over by what's his bucket and all that stuff? Oh, it's just such a it's man. That's one of those stories. What is his name? Sorry. Activist investor. He is the most famous activist investor, right? Carl Icahn. There you go. Yeah, Carl Icahn. So like Carl Icahn bought TWA, and it was like a big thing, and the stock price like went up and everything, and then he took it private, and that was what the whole like the Wolf of Wall Street was based on, basically. He took it private, and then it was like an absolute disaster. And you know why it was an absolute disaster? This is what's interesting about it, is that when they made the deal to like take it private and everything, they had made a deal with the pilots union, right? They had made a deal with the pilots union, but they didn't make a deal with the flight attendant union. And flight attendants get screwed so hard. Oh my gosh. Like in the movie Catch Me If You Can, right? That portrays being a flight attendant as a really prestigious job, and that the girls that were doing that, they made good money and they got to hang out with the hot pilots and all this sort of stuff. Okay, maybe that's the way that it was in the 50s, but like ever since then, flight attendants have just gotten screwed over and over and over and over again. And if you want to talk about like worker exploitation, flight attendants are one of, if not the most exploited workers in the United States today. Because when you fly, you don't get paid for like the amount of time that you actually have to like travel and work. You only get paid when the door is closed. And this is based on like US government law that should probably be changed. But so the amount that you make compared to the amount of time that you're away from home is crazy. Absolutely just unconscionable that they can continue to do this, right? And TWA was a great example of where it's like the flight attendants would just get screwed over and over and over again. They wouldn't deal with them. They wouldn't make a deal with the flight attendants. They said, well, like, we have to make money somehow, and we have to fix this company somehow. And who was going to take the hit? It was going to be the flight attendants. And then, like, it didn't work out. So, like, he lost money on that. Very sad story. That's true, though, that they don't get paid good. So like, if you are a first year flight attendant, okay, and you work for a regional airline, okay, you just started out, you're on a regional airline, and you work full time, okay, like literally you work full time, you make like less than $20,000 a year, like more like $16,000 to $18,000 a year. No joke. It is like you can't even live. Like I literally, or my wife, I don't, but she's a flight attendant, right? My wife literally knows people that like they can't even like pay for an apartment. Like it's so crazy. And how does that work? Well, because you could be working full time, but because you only get paid when the doors are closed, you're not actually making minimum wage. It's nuts. See, that's where they fool you though, right? I was fooling around with a 26-year-old air hostess working for KLM, and she makes more than I was getting paid at that age at Lloyd's. But compare the yearly salary, because what you're gonna find out is it's like they're gonna get paid like $30 or $40 an hour, and you're like, wow, that's so good. But you realize that for the time that they're like that any other normal employee would be on the clock, it's like, okay, so first there's like the travel time from here to the airport. Right, so this may be like 20 minutes, 2 ways back, right? Okay, but then once you get at the airport, you would think, okay, now you're on the clock, right? Now you're on the clock, right? Wrong. So you are, from when you get to the airport to when you get into the plane, that could be 1 or 2 hours, right? Because you have to get to your plane, you have to clean the plane, all of these other things, right? You're working, they do not get paid for that. They straight up, they do not get paid for it. They only get paid when the door closes. Okay, so that could be 2 hours, like literally right there and there. They don't get paid. Now, if you move over to like the bigger airlines and you've been there for a couple of years, then you can do okay. Then you can do okay. And here's the thing that is devious about it, I think. So like with my wife, she's been a flight attendant for so long now. Like she's been a flight attendant for so long that in 5 years she'll be eligible for retirement, basically. And so at this point, her goal, she's told me, is to just stay there until she retires, and then you can have flight benefits for life. How cool is that? Flight benefits for life? Well, you have such a flexible schedule with it, right? She can like just fly regional, like small local flights while the kids are at school, and then, you know, the kids to the kids, she's a stay-at-home mom. You know, they don't know the difference, right? It's the flexibility. And the issue becomes you get so much flexibility that if you want to like switch careers because they don't pay you enough, they don't, it's really hard to switch careers, right? Because she would have to switch, like I was like, hey, I could teach you to code and you could do QA stuff, and you'd probably be just fine at that, and you'd make more than $50,000 a year. You'd make almost double what you get now, right? But you would have to go to an office and stay in an office 8 hours a day. No flexibility, right? So you can't switch. And that's how they're able to do it, right? So they get you in, and then you're like stuck. suck. It's yeah. They really, Congress needs to change. I don't know what it would do to the flight industry. I'm just telling you, man. It's disgusting. 8-hour day. Oh, it does seem like a dream unless you have a 3-year-old, right? so I guess if she learned to code and she was making, let's say 60 to 100K, it should probably could justify it, because what we're looking at now is like when she goes to fly, or you know, when she starts working again, what do we do with the kids? Okay, we hire a babysitter or daycare. Well, what you would pay on that would be more than what she'd be making. Would be more than what she makes as being a flight attendant. So like, how do you work that one out? I don't actually know what we're gonna do. I mean, we made it work with Asher for a year, but I just kind of think about it now and I'm like, how did we do that exactly? Oh, well, I'll tell you what it was. Oh my gosh. That was so brutal now that I think about it. Because we didn't make very much content back then. But that was when my wife would just only work on the weekends, is what happened then. She'd only work on the weekends, and then I just watched them on, you know, it was just me and Asher on the weekends. I don't know if I could do that now, because Asher is so active. Like, you have to, oh man. I know I'm getting like super personal here and everything, but like this is a problem that I have to deal with, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's probably the thing in my life that causes me like the most, I don't want to say it like it makes me feel anxious and everything, but like this is the biggest issue that I have to deal with right now, right? I have a very hard time sitting and paying attention to something, especially if it's like boring, okay? And to me, kids are boring. But this kid cannot be left alone, okay? Like, if I left him and his little brother alone, he would literally push his brother down the stairs without a second thought. He just literally does not understand. He just literally does not understand. He has a thought, he does it without thinking, because he must be ADHD like me. So you can't take your eye off of him. So I can't sit there and like, well, maybe I could play a game, but man, you know, and doing that by yourself. I mean, he's better for mom, but mom has a tough job watching him all day, right? And then you got Seth. Who has a particular problem with paying attention. It's gonna be rough, but we're gonna have to do something. Flying a lot is yes, it is. You get more radiation. I think it's so funny. It's like everybody freaks out about radiation, but like you get more radiation from flying than you do working at a power plant. It's hilarious, actually. Do you look at the VIX? So I definitely keep track of it, but I'm not actively watching it. No, because I don't get the live data for it. So what'll happen is like afterwards, I'll kind of keep, you know, see what it did that day. I don't have as much insight into that as I would like. I think that might be part of the problem of where trading ES was so hard, you know, was that I did not have enough insight into what kind of flows were going on for the options. Well, it has the VIX for free, but if you want to get like live 1 minute data, it's still delayed. Yeah, let's see here. So if you go to like trading view, oh, maybe the index is. Let's see here. Last time I checked it, well, I don't actually remember what I did. This would be an index. Launch chart. Change it to 1 minute. Oh, it is showing me 1 minute. I don't know why I wasn't doing it with that one. I know what it was. You can watch it live, but if I want to put it on my ES chart with my indicator, you're still delayed 10 minutes. That's what it was. Yeah, well, flying is a fun job. Like, that's where it kind of is, like, again, where it gets really iffy. Is like, so my wife could go and be gone all weekend, right? And maybe actually have only done 2 trips, right? But there's like a layover, like she has to stay overnight somewhere, right? So she's gone from home. That's why I'm saying, like, the amount of time that you're gone from home compared to like the amount that you get paid for is retarded. She is gone all weekend. To me, that's like you were working for 48 hours. But in reality, to them, it was like you only worked for 4. Yeah, if you're putting on the base chart, it will delay. Yeah. But like, here's the thing. I don't think that the VIX is enough. I think that if you're trading the S&P 500, you do need to watch the VIX. But I also think that you need to have some information that gives you insight into the gamma and the 0 day to expiration options and all of that. There's just like so much going on over there. Just tough. But let me come back over here and refresh her. We see if we got everybody. Yeah, no, I think we're good. There's a few new ones. Oh, I love how you guys changed mine to yellow. Thank you. That's cool. You know what I think is funny is, like, you'll probably never get anybody from California, right? I think we've had, like, I can recall 2 or 3 people that are regulars on the stream that come from California. But that's like it. It was too early. It's too early to wake up over there, right? Yeah. I could see myself moving east, but not west. That would be too... Having to wake up and start streaming at 5:30 in the morning. Ooh, that would be rough. That would be rough. I think I will always wake up at 5:30 though. Like, even if something happens, like, let's just say that YouTube decided to ban me or something. For some reason, we couldn't do the stream anymore. I'd still wake up at 5:30. I mean, maybe it's not the time that I'm waking up, but I have never been so productive in my life. Like, I had this whole thing I had on my little board here, right? This is something, especially if you're like me, have trouble getting organized here. Get yourself like a extra large clipboard that's like 11 by 17. And then you put sticky notes on the clipboard. And then put the clipboard right in front of you, somewhere where you're always going to be looking at it. And you can take it around with you. If you're like in an office, you can take it around with you to meetings if you need to, right? And I take sticky notes, put new sticky notes on and take them off every day. I get stuff done. I can remember so many times in the past where I felt like, okay, here's this task and this task, and those just keep dragging on and on and on. And then there's this other thing that I want to get to, and like I never get to it. But that doesn't happen anymore. I go through these, like that PDF, man. So again, if you guys haven't seen the PDF, okay, speculatorset.com/strategy.html, sign up and it will email the PDF to you. That is took me a long time to write, and I was kind of starting to think that, like, am I ever gonna finish this? But we did. We finished it, and I think it's a really good I think it's a really good piece of work. I really hope that you guys take advantage of that and that you find it useful, especially you new guys, right? Oh man, yeah. There is one thing on my list here though that I've been like really dragging my feet on, and that is doing another photo shoot to get better thumbnails. Oh, and the invest. Oh, that's what we need to do, guys. That's what we need to do. So I'm gonna switch this over here. Or no, I'll just minimize this for a second. The investment advisor names. That's what we were doing on, what was that, Monday? Oh my gosh. I'm still laughing about the Mulan one. Somebody really should make Mulan. Oh, that was it right there. Okay, so I picked the 5 best names that it had from it. So I thought we should do a poll. So let's start a poll. Best, yeah, well, I'm just gonna say investment advisor name. So we got Trust Vantage, Dopecution, Dopecution. Oh, can I only do 4? Okay. Osmosis point. Gains, and then the last one will be gain skill. Those were the best names that it had come up with. No, Mulan, like Mulan, the Disney movie, but with cows. Mulan. Yeah. Yeah, I've experience with Linux, sure. All 4 or better, I know. But those are the 4 that are in front of us today. Oh, too many cooks. Gotcha. No, those are the 4 that are in front of us today, and we'll see what you guys think of them. So I just put the poll up so you can vote for which one you like the most. And I'll keep going through and trying to come up with names. It may just end up being like the most boring and uninteresting name ever. I had 2 thoughts. Because there was another thing that I was like, we should use to find a name. Oh yeah. What if I come in here? What was that called? That was in like Name Alex? Okay, apparently we're gonna get something from the Bank of England soon. Okay. Day trading team. Let's see what it gives us with this. Focus. Some of these are like so basic that there's like no way that you'd ever be able to get like a domain based on it or anything like that. Commodia. You could do that. You could do that. Efficiently. Hire me. There you go. That's what you should name your day trading team. Oh, you passed your Arm to Trade Combine yesterday? That is good. Well, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't say that I don't care. I would, for you've been around for so long and everything, and I would be pretty confident that you would be able to pass it. The question is, how long he keeps it for. I think that Lucas can probably keep it for at least, let's say, a year. Let's say that's can I set that goal for you? Keep the combine for at least a year? The minute I quit my job, we'll come around and share. Do you need to quit your job to do it though? No, you're still working your job. I wouldn't change anything. So in all seriousness, I don't think I would recommend quitting your day job per se, unless you also have a really big source of passive income. You know what I mean? Oh, no, that is not reasonable. Why would I trade for a year for a firm that takes 20% off my profits? I'd quit earlier and trade my own account. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So if you quit and move to your own account, then we won't count that one. Okay. But let's just say you go a year without blowing the account. Right? Because what we found is that most people that get funded blow the account within 6 months. Right? I think that Lucas is a little bit above the average trader, you know, because he's been a part of this stream for so long, of course. I think he could make it a year or more. Yeah, I think they blow it earlier. Oh, yeah. Like I'm just saying within 6 months. Within 6 months most blow it, yeah. And honestly, if I was gonna do one of those combines again, so like somebody did contact me the other day, but then, you know, they didn't take it any further. But there's like a new prop firm that the guys were really good. It was, what was it, Blue Sky? I think it was Blue Sky. I really liked them. You know, if one of them asked me to do a video again, I would like do it. I would trade it discretionarily. I would take big YOLOs, and if I passed the combine, I wouldn't actually take it. You know, and if in some strange set of circumstances I did pass a combine and decide to trade the combine, I would significantly reduce my risk after taking the live account and see what they do. Most of what goes around is BS, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is just that, like, I feel that the parameters for the combine are so aggressive that the chances of you blowing up in a year are just really super high. So the only way to be able to, like, realistically keep the combine is, like, reduce your risk after getting it. You know? For you though, I would think that I don't know if you're one that takes on excessive risk. That's why I'm thinking you might stand a better chance of making it past that average 6 months. Yeah. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people pass them. When I first started and I was doing it, because I just had a really hard time ever getting it. It was always like I felt like I was close, but I never quite got there. I would definitely have some periods that would have made it now. So if I had kept trying, I would have gotten funded at one point. But I think that I probably would have, like, gotten unfunded and refunded a couple of times. Right? Once you pass a certain threshold, you are no longer constrained by those rules. Yes. He's been trying for 7 years. Wow. Okay, and by the way, we're above the open here again. So somehow we clawed it all back. It's a pretty decent amount, about 20,000 contracts long in the 5-year. Actually, it's, yeah, 20,000. There's just been all buy. We could have just bought and just been holding it this whole time. You don't even trade, but you stop trading, but you have your sub. Just go in 15 contracts all the time. Well, that's where I'm saying that they're talking about the combines again, yeah. So like I would be like, okay, it's FOMC day. We know which way it's going now. 2 contracts, try and pull $1,000 out of it or whatever is like the, I think it's like you can't have more than 30% from one trade or whatever, right? So once you get that, you auto take the profits. Yeah, that's what I would do. Well, I mean, if you trade your own account, you can kind of get paid for it. But these are where they fund you. You pay like $150 a month, and if you pass their test, then the account becomes a live account, and then you make money on whatever profits you're making from the trading that account. Well, there's another question, by the way, Lucas. It took you more than 1 month to pass it, right? Like, the combine that you've been telling me about that for like 2 or 3 months, right? So I'm guessing that you just took one combine and it just took more than 1 month to reach the target. But you know what to do, so it's like it is kind of funny though that he's like, well, if it's been a year, I should have moved on to my own account. Oh, gotcha. First combine in December with the holidays is there, and you know what this is doing? It's taking Yada and it's changing it. It's taking the names, it's taking the name of other companies in the space and just, combining them together. Lazy trading. What? That's not really giving us very good ones. Yeah, I mean, there can be good trading in December, though. It's probably not the best time to start a combine. Yeah. I didn't close that because it wasn't giving us very good numbers. There was, so there was one that I thought was really funny. Was excessive capital, because all of the other ones, wherever it said capital in it, it was like, well, that wouldn't be very good. But excessive capital, oh man, that's what I want to do, is excessive. Another one was Stoxy. I looked it up and Stoxy wasn't taken. I was like, what? So if I'm ever gonna start like my Robinhood competitor, we're calling it Stoxy. That or Sticky Dizzle. I don't know what we're going to do with that one, but Sticky Dizzle is just too funny to pass up. Sticky Dizzle is gonna be something. Maybe Sticky Dizzle is like a mascot, It's like a stick, but it's all dressed up like Wigger style stick, But I won't go with live sim. Well, they don't. Earn a Trade doesn't do live sim, right? Can't recall. Sticky Dizzle, man, freaking hilarious. Who was the one? I don't even remember anymore. Who was the one that were giving you live sim and they didn't tell you? Yeah, let's ask ChatGPT. Okay, OpenAI. What type of a business would the name Sticky Dizzle be for? I think that it will be able to understand what I was asking there. It's kind of a weird question. Okay. The name Sticky Dizzle could be suitable for a variety of businesses, but it may be particularly fitting for a business related to food, beverages, or sweets. Some possible examples of businesses that could use the name Sticky Dizzle include a bakery or cafe that specializes in stick bun pastries and other sweet treats, a food truck or restaurant that serves sticky and flavorful barbecued dishes, candy store or confectionery that sells sticky and gooey candies, a bar or club that serves specialty drinks. Okay. So this is what we're going to do, folks. I've got it. I'm going to make like Mormon Starbucks. It'll be like, it'll be a Starbucks. Like, we want you to come in and stay and hang out here, and this be your second space or whatever the deal is, right? Okay. But instead of doing coffee, we do like cookies, mixed soda, and hot cocoa. And we can call it Sticky Dizzle. I think we may have just had $1 million idea here, guys. Yeah, how long, so I said I think that they open on the S&P 500 will maybe be slightly up, and then we'll see, like, can they get above 40 or do they want to get to 60? So far we've been right on. Let's see where it goes. Let's go. So you heard about these things. You guys outside of Utah, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So in Utah, the big thing is a cookie store. Like, it's literally a shop where all they do is they sell these really fancy cookies. And they are fancy cookies. Like, it's a really big cookie, and like eating one of them is like too much, sort of a thing. Okay. I think they have them in New York now, but it's really, really popular in Utah. Okay. So there was one of them, I think it was Crumble was the first one, and they made these cookies, and you'll go and you'll buy, it'll be like $10-20 or whatever for a dozen cookies, and like their cost for them making them is like nothing, right? So they make pretty good money, or rather they make a really good margin on them. Okay. And so like one showed up, and then these other guys, they copied them and started doing the same thing. And then the one cookie store sued the other cookie store. And there's this big back and forth going on about who is like the original and who's infringing on who and whatever. Okay. There's another place in Utah called Fizz, which is you get sodas from them, but they're like extra fancy sodas, like you would for a coffee. Like, your coffee is extra fancy. That's a soda that's extra fancy. Okay. And there are people in Utah that for whatever reason are just like obsessed with the Fizz. Like the Fizz always gets taken out in a place, like it's a small little place, right? And you go through the drive-through, and it's always set up in a place where there is not any room for cars to be in a drive-through. Like the drive-through would maybe be able to handle like 3 cars or something like that, right? And the line for those things always go out and into the street and cause traffic problems and stuff like that. Like, it's insane how popular they seem to be, because it's just freaking soda. Soda. So the other thing that we were complaining about, my wife, because again, the thing lately, the idea that we're playing with right now and we're thinking about is communities. And one of the problems that we have in America here is that people do not have second places, which is to say a place outside of, or third place, I guess you call it a third place, somewhere outside of your home and your work where you go to hang out and socialize with people. And it used to be that there would be places like maybe you could go to the park or something like that. But if you're a teenager and you want to quote unquote loiter in a place, right? They don't like it. The police like break it up, right? And so teenagers in particular don't have third places anymore. And so what we're finding more and more in American society is that people are more and more cut off from their communities, and you're seeing all of the negative effects of that. So how do we create communities? Well, we're trying to do some things to kind of strengthen community here. That's why I've been going in and trying to create certain rituals that we can do here on the stream. I'm still thinking about it, because the one that I really want to get to is like, so that new people understand the importance of what we're doing. You know, that obviously not everybody should day trade, but it is important that we have people in society that understand day trading and understand what things are worth and are trying to do that. That's important, right? Let's do a different map of where we live now. Yeah, well, let's do that tomorrow, because we got like 45 minutes. We can do that tomorrow. But anyways, so my wife was like, yo, we need to create a business where teenagers can hang out. So that's what it's going to be. You're a teenager, you're going to be like, dude, let's go hang out at Sticky Dizzle. That's what we're going to do, man. It's such a great name. It's such a great name. See, our original idea of like, oh, if we want to start a family business, the original idea for a family business was going to be a snow cone shack. I still want to do a snow cone shack, but let's just do Sticky Dizzle instead. Now I need to go and find a place for Sticky Dizzle. Oh man. Because you know, like, just think, you're sitting there, you're driving down the road. Oh, there's this new place where they're building. I wonder what it's gonna be. You know, okay. You're thinking about it all month. What is this place gonna be? And then one day you drive by, grand opening, Sticky Dizzle. How do you not go in and see what Sticky Dizzle is about? You know that you have to at that point, right? You have to see what Sticky Dizzle is. Where I lived and where I still live are the same. Well, the kind of the motivator behind that originally was, let's refresh it, by the way. Yeah, we did pick up a few more. Some of you guys changed your symbol. I wanted to see if there was any of you where you grew up was over in the east. It looks like Mashun is probably the furthest. But we can do one that is, where are you now? I bet it would be pretty close, right? But let's do that again another day when like everybody's here and stuff. How are we doing, by the way, in terms of... yeah, okay. I'm gonna say, there was the other day. The other day when we were arguing about the whole the Dilbert cartoonist, what's his name, Scott Adams thing. It was like a lot of people tuned out. They're like, oh, this argument's getting boring. I was like, oh, I better keep an eye on that a little bit better in the future. I felt like that was no good. Saratoga Springs. My wife is gonna love it when I tell her I know what we need to call our place. I know what we need to call it. I can hear Asher screaming at the top of his lungs. Do you hear that? I don't know if that's supposed to be his bark or what. He's going, ow, 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 ow. Man. Oh, okay. So it looks like maybe the E-mini. So they've traded a lot up here at 39.46, but it kind of is looking to me like somebody's trying to push it through. Curious to me, though, that we come back up here so far. I'm still wary about the flows that I'm seeing in the treasuries. Like, it was a strong pullback. Now we're starting to see the volume come back into the short side, so maybe they could still break new lows, but I can't really explain how it's gone, like why it's where it is now, you know? So let's just keep an eye on it, but I don't think that I want to be like market buy right here, you know? Dog breed. You think? No, my son is pretending to be a dog. I think he's developmentally delayed, so I don't actually know what he thinks he's doing, but he will just sometimes just make really loud noises, and I think it's supposed to be a dog. They really like our dog. That little thing, man. He's been a good dog. He's been a really good dog, and he's starting to chill out now. So like, I can, if I sit down on the couch, he will sit on me. Is he not just playing? Developmentally delayed? No. It's, I promise you. He's so he is now 3, and we've never been able to get him to say anything more than ma and dad. That's it. And he does not understand things. Like I said, so the other day, I was like, I'm serious. So the other day, my wife, the youngest one, Ethan, okay, he's normal as far as I can tell. Ethan is crawling. He's probably gonna start walking soon. And he wants to crawl up the stairs. So he can crawl up the stairs now. So my wife was with them watching Ethan crawl up the stairs, and they were just like on the first step, and Asher just goes up to him and pushes him. So Ethan only fell down 1 step, but like that kid, he does not understand. Like, it does not process in his head that I could kill somebody from doing that, right? He has no clue. Yeah, Asher's the older one. He's developmentally delayed somehow in some form. Ethan is like 9 months old. He must go into the world. Well, he is going to preschool. So listen, this term that I'm giving to you, I didn't make that up. Okay, that's what the government says. Okay. Yeah, potentially on the spectrum. So they did the screening test for him for autism. So he qualified on the screener test, and I guess there's another test that we take him to where they determine if he actually fits as autistic. The thing is I'm not sure if he actually qualifies as autistic though. Because again, like, the thing that is a big deal about people with autism is like difficulty, reluctance with change. So it could be more the case that he's really just mostly ADHD. But I don't know. Like, the thing is that at this age, you can't really know how bad it is. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard some stories of people where, like, you know, family was like really concerned about their baby, and then grandpa's like, nah, he'll be fine. I didn't start talking until I was 5, and look at how I turned out. And then everybody realized, oh, grandpa is autistic. You know? So for me, I don't know if like he's just gonna start speaking late and he's like me, because apparently I didn't start speaking until I was around 3. So he could just be like me, but he could also be like full on autistic, like where I have to take care of him for the rest of his life, sort of like he'll never be able to live alone, sort of autistic. That's possible. I don't know if he is like that. Well, number one, it would suck if he just never spoke. Because if personality wise, he's fun and he's extra cute. Okay, so, but if it was like that, and I make him come on, watch the stream with me every morning and make that his routine, and if that, I could live with that, I guess. But that's kind of the fears that we're facing right now. Have you asked? He doesn't. I don't even know if he even understands the stuff that we say to him. Like, it seems to me like unless I like grab him by the shirt and yell really, really aggressively, that he doesn't understand that something is bad. So it's really weird, dude. How did I get on that? I mean, that's the second time I've brought that up today, so it must be on my mind. I guess it's on my mind because this week he started preschool. Oh, that was because we could hear him. It was because we could hear him, that's right. Yeah. I know, it's a tough thing because you don't know if he's like how normal he's gonna be, right? I would have thought that you would have a pretty good idea from the beginning how bad they are, but you really don't early on. I'm watching this, man. I'm feeling a little left out, like that they're gonna go for another dip. I would say that the selling overall has been somewhat gentle, but it's pretty consistent selling now. Yeah, we'll be okay one way or the other, right? It's kind of come now to the point where it's kind of more like, how do I deal with it, right? What do I need to do? I've been learning a lot of interesting things though because of it. So there's that. It's interesting. So I spent a lot of time yesterday reading about rituals. So like they created like a really good process for it, for how to create your own rituals. They said that there's like there needs to be a trigger. There's like a hook. We do this ritual when X thing happens. So like we do this ritual so if we're talking about making rituals for the stream, it could be like we do this at the beginning of the stream, at the end of the stream, after we take a trade, something like that, right? Then the second thing is, and this is the one that I wouldn't have expected, but they said a prop. So they either have an object of some sort or some sort of a hand gesture is the prop for the ritual, right? And then there is going to be a sequence of actions that you repeat, like reciting something or doing a set of actions or whatever the deal is, right? And then there's supposed to be a feeling afterwards. How you're supposed to feel after the ceremony. And apparently rituals are really good and useful for us, and there's a couple of reasons why. One of them is that because they're things that you go and you do all of the time, it kind of eases anxiety. Your body goes, okay, I'm doing the ritual thing. That means that like whatever is going on right now is normal and fine, and I don't need to be concerned about it. Okay, which really made me make like a lot of sense to me. Like in weightlifting, you always approach the bar the same way, right? And it really does make it to when you are doing it for real in the competition, it's just like any other lift and you're not worried about it at all. You don't even think about it. You're just lifting it like you lift it every day, right? So it eases the anxiety. But then it's also because you do it all together, it creates a sense of closeness in the community. And rituals can also be used to kind of teach people things, get people up to speed on what you're about or what you're doing, right? So I kind of had been thinking about what are some rituals that we can do every day, and I'm kind of toying around with it. But if you're autistic, none of that makes sense, right? It's just like, why are we doing this? This is stupid, right? Normal person, I guess, intuitively understands it to the point that we don't even understand why we understand it, you know? This is a thing. Oh, we do the ritual, whatever. Autistic person, why are we doing this? This is weird, right? That's a weird thing. Sounds like parenting to me. Good grief. I tell you, one of the things that's I've read a lot about is that, and I haven't had this problem yet, but you know, if your child is ADHD or autistic or whatever, and people will say you're a bad parent because of it. It's just, no. Especially if it's like a something that you can like physically prove. I wonder how they're going to do the autism test. Are they going to hook them up to an EKG? I think that they do that. Because otherwise, why would they need a screener test, right? Whoa. What's this? Wells Fargo, we no longer expect Fed to cut interest rates in 2023 and see the terminal rate at 5.25 to 5.5 versus a prior estimate of 3.5 versus 3.75. Okay, so 5.25 to 5.5 is what the consensus expectation has been overall. So I don't know if that's a big deal. It could be maybe why we've been seeing it turned back down so hard. If it's not broken, just don't fix it. Well, think about this for a second, okay? He's 3 years old. In 2 years, he'll be going to kindergarten. He's never said a word to me. The other day, Mom left without him to go and drive the girls somewhere and back, so she was only gone for like 2 minutes, and he was so upset. And he came up to me, took his binky out of his mouth, and said like "pa, pa." Like, I don't know if he was trying to say "papa" or what it was that he was trying to tell me, but that is the first time that he has ever actively tried to say something to me. He's 3 years old, so. Yeah, like most children start saying things at 1.5. Most children start saying things by 1.5. All of the other kids in nursery can use full sentences, and he doesn't even speak. True born assassin. I tell you what, the other thing that's kind of funny about it is that he is very large for, like, he's 90th percentile for his age. So he looks like he's already 4 or 5, but he literally has the mind of a 1-year-old. They start kindergarten at 2? What? Really? Well, he's going to preschool, so that should help. Nate Silver, there's almost a perfect inverse correlation between people who constantly talk about AI and people who constantly talk about the New York Times op-ed page. Apparently the only two subjects that anyone talks about on Twitter anymore. So can I try and make a controversial prediction here now off of that? I think that there is going to be a, quote, AI crash. I think that it's been overhyped, and that people do not understand the limitations of the AIs, where it's useful and where it's not useful. And there's going to be a ton of companies created going after the AI thing that is going to like completely collapse, just like there is in any other industry. And then when it comes back, then it will truly be like people will understand, okay, you got to use AI. You kind of have to design models built for your specific situation and so forth. The one who talked had 5 siblings. Okay, Devin, I had contracts for Oust and then merged with VLDR. Now the contracts are Oust 1. Thoughts on hold or until expiration or out? So I don't know the exact details of it, but usually what happens is you're given some other type of contract in the interim until they like switch over to the shares of the other company. So that might be what you have. Is warrants. You might have like warrants that convert into the regular shares no matter what at a certain time. It's a good question. But that is a question, no joke, that is a question you should call your broker up and ask. Because you'll learn interesting things from them about it. Seriously. I'm gonna blow my nose here for a second. Hold on. I'm gonna turn the screen off for a second. What if you don't? Then how did you get the shares? Don't ask me. You bought them directly and you have the certificates sitting in your basement? Then I don't know, man. I may have a wee bit of trust issues with other men. You gotta have a stockbroker somehow for you to have gotten it. Robinhood, call him. But like this is really an instance where you probably should talk to somebody with a Series 7 license, which I don't have. I'm sure it's fine, but I would talk to somebody with a Series 7 license. I'm looking at this. Could we have ever have gotten 3.6? I think that there was maybe some points at which that might have happened, but it kind of looks to me like after the initial move that there was not really been a whole lot of activity. If Seth's channel was a Sonic the Hedgehog level, all right, now I feel like it would be one of those funky tropical levels. Yeah, actually, that's a really good suggestion. Actually, you just called the investor relations department of the company, and they would definitely know. So they'd be much more familiar about the specifics of that specific stock and whatnot. This is when you start to get into that sort of stuff. That's where I find that like I always get suspicious, I guess you could say. This is why I'm saying like I don't think that it's like your shares disappeared or anything like that, but what I find tends to happen is that when you start to see people use all of these complicated instruments and maneuvers and stuff, that part of the advantage of that is the additional complexity that's going on that prevents regular people from understanding what's going on. You know what I mean? So like I have shares in rare earth resources, and one of the things that happened was it took off during the pandemic, like the whole rare earth sector did. So at one point this thing went from like 40 cents to like $4 or something like that. I should have taken profits on it, but I was like, no, I want to hold it forever because I want to see the project work out, right? And then two things happened. One was that, you know, they had made so much money from that they like sold shares and stuff like that, right? So the people involved in the project got paid, essentially. They used the stock to pay the people in the project at the expense of the shareholders, okay? And then the other thing that happened was another company called Synchron or something like that came in and took a big interest in it. So now some people on the internet are saying, and I don't know how accurate this is, but some people are saying, this is just a shell company and Synchron is basically going to take all of the assets and eventually this stock will be worth zero. They're just going to raid the whole thing, right? So when all of that was happening, they did a warrant sell. They did a where if you own a share, you can buy more shares, but you have to buy them, right? And they let you buy them at a really cheap price, but overall, like, they're taking more money, right? So I kind of felt like, oh, I've been watching this, but kind of seems like there was a bunch of things that if the people that bought the shares knew were going on would be really mad about it, right? And now the stock is just left for dead. Like, it's basically been trading at 38-40 cents now for months. Like months, just in a 2-cent range. Can you believe that? That's the primary function of the stock market, is raising. Yes, but they're supposed to be raising money to put back into the business so that my shares become more valuable, not to raise money and then run off with it. I don't know if that's actually what's happening, but I'm kind of concerned about it, right? It's not a large amount of money that I have in it, so I'm not like too triggered about it, but they did in Wyoming, they did pass a law that should make things a little bit easier for them. But I don't know, the stock might just be dead. The stock might just be dead until either they do some deal and they really do take it out and then the stock gets delisted, or they make some announcement that like their project worked and they're actually generating rare earth minerals there now or something like that. Then maybe it will just like, and everybody will like, oh, everybody left this stock for dead and you guys are so dumb you didn't stay in it. You know, we'll see. But I'm just saying, when they start doing that kind of, when you start getting those complexities in there, I'm telling you, man, they add unnecessary complexity so that regular people don't understand what's going on. They 100% do that. It's part of the strategy. Yeah, or the stock buys because they needed money and no one bought warrants, so it dies. I think that they got enough from them, though. I think that enough people participated in that that warrant offering, whatever they call it. Who is doing that? Well, so I was just talking about my experience with rare earth resources. So the best way to understand it is computer science degree. Well, so number one is, well, you can study these things like at this Series 65 exam, they kind of cover some of this stuff a little bit. Series 7, they kind of cover this stuff again. Yeah, it's the Canadian one. Or it's not actually a Canadian, it's like listed in Canada. Yeah. That's definitely a scam. No, I don't think that it's so like let's be a little bit more specific about what's happening. I don't say it's a scam. I think that there's a real project and that they really are trying to open a rare earth mine in Wyoming, and they're definitely doing stuff, okay? But it looks to me like it's been raided. That's what I think has happened. Was the stock taking off was the worst thing that could have ever happened to it, because then all of the people that were involved were like, oh, well, we made money, let's just run off with what we did. And they're not actually going through with the project now. Or I mean, they're not putting as much effort maybe as they probably should be, let's say. I don't think that it's like one of those things where like they were never actually doing things and it was it was total BS. Every mining company from Canada since Brex X is a scam by default in my book, so no, it's a real project. Like here's what I'm concerned is gonna happen. Okay. Is Synchron is gonna come in, who is a private company, by the way. If I believe they're a private company. They're gonna come in, they're gonna take over the project, and then the project's gonna work, it's gonna happen. And they're going to become millionaires, and everybody that had this stock isn't going to get anything. That's what I'm worried is going to happen. Is that they're going to privatize. They're basically privatizing the project. They took all of the money from the shareholders, took it to themselves. It's being raided. Is that the right word? Raid? I don't know. React, start watching movies. Okay, I'll go try and find that. So again, how do you learn about this stuff? I guess experience. Just watching enough companies and seeing what happened to them and so forth. Because like I said, like the whole thing is intended to be complicated so that only the people that are like really familiar with these kinds of maneuvers know what's going on. Only the rich people and the CEOs. The one thing that does make me feel a little bit better about it is that the board continues to buy stuff. Like it really does seem to me like these people really do believe in this project and are trying hard to make it happen. And they've bought some like leaps essentially. And that might not necessarily tell you anything about like if they think that it's really going to work out or anything like that. But at the very least, that says to me that, you know, they're willing to put a couple $100,000 of their own money into it, that it's not just going to disappear tomorrow. Whoa, what? One of the partners got his hands and legs cut by the Indonesian military and left in the jungle because he defrauded the president's brother? Whoa. Okay. What? Merrick Garland is a huge Taylor Swift fan? Okay. Is this really what we consider news this morning, Wall Street Journal? Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I would report on that. That will give you the traffic, but how does that come up? That Merrick Garland's favorite is Taylor Swift. Fetch. People these days. Anyways, I got off on a bunch of topics. I was kind of talking about this thing that I was sharing with you guys that I wanted you to think about, which was rituals. Okay, so I talked about a ritual. A ritual has to have a hook. So a thing that happens, and then we start doing the ritual, and then there's a prop, the actions that you do, and the feeling you're supposed to have afterwards. So I'll think about that, and think about some things. So one of them that I want to do is to have a stretching session. We did the stretching session today. I think we should always have a stretching session just before the S&P 500 opens. But I'm also interested in the prop thing. I'm trying to think about what we can do with prop. one ritual that you can do that I kind of feel like I would be stealing it from other people, and I don't have anything, but like we have the mug, right? We could have the everybody take a sip at the same time sort of thing, but then that would mean that I would have to start actually using my mug and putting something in it, and I'm kind of like, I just like water. I have to go. Yeah, thanks, Lucas. We're good. We're gonna be closing down here in 5 minutes anyways, so thanks for stopping by and sharing with us. We need to have like Speculator Seth branded stress balls, and there can be a stress ball ritual. That's I had a good stress ball down here, and then the baby or the dog or someone stole it. I don't know where it is now. All I've got is the fidget cube. The fidget cube. So, before we get going here, so we got about 5 to 10 minutes left. Okay, Zero Hedge is accusing Ukraine of opening fire on civilians in Russia. House Republicans accuse Biden White House of creating authoritarian-style digital dollar. Okay, and then their top story this morning is bond vigilantes awaken as inflation becomes, quote, embedded. An NBC reporter goes to Crimea. Do the people in Crimea may just want to stay with Russia. It might not be worth trying to take Crimea over, right? Okay. With futures sinking for a third day and set to take out the 200-day moving average, with the S&P 500 cash at 39.38 at the time of this writing, traders are bracing for a potential air pocket lower in today's session, one which could drag stocks sharply lower if 3900 is also taken out. And while we have more to say about the technicals in a follow-up post, here is a quick snapshot from the trading desk of the largest U.S. bank, JP Morgan. We'll start with the overnight snapshot from the JP Morgan index trader Jason Hunter, who writes that the move lower can accelerate rapidly if key support around 3,900 is taken out. Quote, the S&P 500 index slide from the anticipated resistance in the 4100s threatens key chart levels surrounding 3,900. A move through that support has the strong potential to accelerate bearish price pressures in our view. Other markets that have been sensitive to the China rebound story are testing key chart levels as well. A break there has the potential to feed back into Western markets as global macro sentiment may sour. Even after the recent setback, the S&P 500 looks overvalued relative to the shape of the money market curve. We have used versions of regression models based on that relationship to not only show limited upside for the index, but also show asymmetric downside that is still present on the residual chart. An 18-month relationship that uses the expected terminal rate and overall amount of easing priced after terminal rate is achieved currently shows the index fair value just below 3,800. Our retest of 3,491, the fourth quarter of 2022 low, would roughly equate to 2 standard deviations oversold, all else equal. That study has a 0.75 R squared and a 160 point standard error. That's an interesting one. And here is some additional color from JP Morgan TMT trader Ron Alder, who notes the tape is nearing max frustration. To wit, the tape is nearing max frustration. The desk and TMT are again very balanced from a flow perspective. We continue to see LO demand in the mega cap, some idiosyncratic positioning in software ahead of tonight. A ton of paper hit the market, I believe 2.9 billion, and this doesn't account for the heightened VC distribution seen as Windows open post earnings. Yields are the issue today, though the dollar is still reacting in a tow. Though US Euro USD is still stronger, still all things considered, the market is hanging in okay. The red headline guy has almost hit the send button on the 10-year yields, hit 4% for the first time since November 2022, headline 17 times today. Growth investors anxiously await that catalyst to sell the stocks they sold in November again. That trigger finger is very, very itchy. Blah, 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 blah. As a final bonus here, the key factors that Goldman's equity desk is focusing on: desk activity, BSQ on the floor finished roughly flat. LOs finished 320 basis points better to buy, driven by mega cap tech and ETFs. Hedge funds finished 415 basis points better to buy, with notable buy skews in HC and tech. Continue to see corporates and sponsors monetize in block form. China will make a push at the G20 foreign ministers meeting on Thursday for peace talks to commence in the Ukraine war, but Washington is very skeptical Russia has any intention to negotiate in good faith and end its aggression. Overall, Prime Book saw its largest notional net selling in 8 months, driven by elevated short sells outpacing long buys by 4-1. Single stocks were net bought for a third straight month and saw the largest notional net buying in 5 months, driven by risk-on flows with long buys outpacing short sells. Geopolitical tensions continue to simmer. Reportedly, the U.S. is sounding out close allies about the possibility of imposing new sanctions on China if Beijing provides military support to Russia for its war in Ukraine. However, on the bright side, the Wall Street Journal reports that senior Treasury Department official recently traveled to Beijing and met with Chinese counterparts for technical staff-level discussions on macroeconomic and financial issues. Meanwhile, China's Vice Minister of Commerce said his country is willing to conduct candid talks with the U.S. to reduce trade and investment restrictions in order to implement consensus reached by leaders of the two countries in Bali. CTA's updated numbers in a flat tape: 27 billion for sale, 20 billion in SPX alone, and 10-year yields 3.4 to start February, 4.08 currently. Yes, it's been a really dramatic rise in interest rates, 50 basis points. Just found your channel. Great job coding, programming. Oh, thank you very much. Yep. Make sure you check out that order flow one playlist too. That's, I think, the best information that we've got. All right. If market goes lower, it may go lower further notice. Yeah, so it looks like my prediction that they were going to at least try and close the gap has come out. They haven't reached 39.60 yet. That might be kind of where they might start to have problems though, right? In other words, my prediction would be that they are not able to close above 39.60 today. And I think that they are correct in that if we reach 3,900 or so, and that could be a moving target. That could be a moving target. But if you get below 3,900, a lot of these flows could probably flip a lot more negative. And I think that at this time, we need to be aware of the possibility for the treasuries to push even further. So if inflation becomes, quote, entrenched, you could see a situation where, yeah, okay, Federal Reserve, maybe we don't stop at 5.25. Maybe we go to 6. Let's just say that's like a really out there prediction right now. Okay, beyond what any of the analysts are saying. Okay, but I'm just as a worst case scenario as an example here. You could see this situation where the long yields kind of say, yeah, this isn't going to come. They're not going to cut. This isn't going to come back down. So our rate should be a lot closer to what the federal funds rate is, which means that you could see these things move as much. You could you even see 5% this year? Is what I'm trying to say, is that 5% on the 10 year is a possibility now, seems to me. So I will leave you with that. Not to be like too doom and gloom, but He has started trading in 1997. So your broker will probably only show you back to 2008 because that's just when they started saving the data for it. That's what I've always found my brokers too. They only give me back to 2008, but it has been longer. Data is just weird like that. Anyways, it's time for me to go. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.